Here's a look at some of what's in the papers on this Wednesday morning. Let me give you a sense of the front pages this morning. New York Times, of course, Rupert Murdoch is right here. The News Corporation story that dominated the cable channels for hours yesterday with live coverage of the testimony in London. USA Today, Rupert Murdoch. Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch. Washington Post, Rupert Murdoch. Daily News, Rupert Murdoch. So, what about the New York Post? No, not on the front page. Not on there, not on there, not on there, not on there, or 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 there. No, not here either. No, not even the first business story. Here it's coming up. Page 35. Honestly. I mean, I know. Rupert Murdoch owns the Post. They're trying to please the boss. But this was the biggest story on 2 continents yesterday. The Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corporation. They put it on the front page. Fox News Channel, Rupert runs that. They ran the live coverage. Okay. That's all I'm doing from the Post today. Because the Post decided to be ridiculous about this, Vanity Fair has stepped in to the breach. They have created fake New York Post front pages to imagine how the Post would cover this story if it was covering it like any other media scandal. So here's one of them. It was Roop in the soup. And then they did one more after the pie throwing incident. News of the hurled. Okay, Wall Street Journal. The Rupert Murdoch story was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. The other big story, of course, that is covered up at the top right corner on the debt ceiling discussions. President Obama said to be pursuing a bipartisan grand bargain by throwing his weight yesterday behind the deficit reduction plan unveiled by 6 Republican and Democratic senators. Also on the front page of the Wall Street Journal this morning, what's up at Goldman Sachs? Well, it's definitely not trading profits. Goldman Sachs has been taking fewer chances, less appetite for risk there. As a result, they are seeing that reflected in their profitability. The Journal says Apple's been quietly discussing what happens after Steve Jobs. The report in the Journal says members of Apple's board have been working with executive recruiters to figure out what might be next for the company if Jobs is not able to return from medical leave. From the Personal Journal section this morning, more companies are implementing unlimited vacation, the honor system. You take as much time off as you think you can afford to take off and still do your job. The big question, though, is whether you're actually able to take as much time off under that system as if someone just said you were entitled to take 4 weeks. Back to USA Today, interesting story there about the post office. Not only will Saturday mail delivery go away someday soon, but the Postmaster General says within 15 years, it's likely they will drop to 3-day-a-week mail delivery. Daily News front page, you saw Rupert Murdoch there. The first 5 pages of this newspaper belong to the News Corporation story. Here's the coverage on pages 2 and 3. Joanna Malloy's column looks at Wendy Murdoch. And there's a tale of the tape with Wendy Murdoch stepping in to fight back against the pie thrower yesterday in London. The tale of the tape says she's 6 feet tall, but 6'4" in her Christian Louboutin shoes. Juan Gonzalez writes about the substance of the hearing in Britain's Parliament, saying the Murdochs passed the buck, and that's not what you'd expect from a CEO of a big company. To page 6, the Daily News breaking this story we were telling you about earlier. Child fare beaters. MTA statistics show that 43% of turnstile jumping is done by kids. And often their parents think that there should be a child fare, that it's too much to pay full adult fare for everybody. So they tell the kids to go over the turnstiles, or more likely under the turnstiles, as that kid's doing in the picture there. Interesting photo on page 12. Do you know this man? It was a picture tweeted by Anderson Cooper from his vacation at a volcano near Colombia. We complain here in New York City that foreign countries skip out on their parking tickets, but apparently this works both ways. The U.S. government can play that game too. In London, they are trying to collect $16 from President Obama because his motorcade went through the congestion pricing toll in London, and the U.S. government's not been paying. Front page of the New York Times now. The budget and Rupert Murdoch are the two big. This isn't the front page of the Times. Show me the front page of the Times, Chris. They're the budget story on the right, the bipartisan plan that they are trying to move through Washington. The story on the front page of the Times says that the president seized on the reemergence of this ambitious bipartisan plan, trying to reinvigorate his push for a big debt reduction deal. The other big story on the left side of the page is the Rupert Murdoch discussion. Sarah Lyle writing the main story in the Times. I'll read you the first paragraph. It says, "It was riveting theater, a newly emboldened parliamentary committee facing off against 80-year-old Rupert Murdoch." It goes on to describe 2 hours of intense questioning, broken only by a bizarre incident in which Mr. Murdoch was accosted with what appeared to be a foil pie plate filled with shaving cream. Other stories in the Times this morning. First of all, on the Murdoch topic, there is an analysis of exactly how they performed in that hearing yesterday. And the thought is that they did quite well in testimony yesterday. Yes, they said they weren't responsible, but there was no smoking gun presented by the parliamentarians, nor any great embarrassment for News Corporation. And Murdoch, by and large, was unfazed by the pie thing. Below the fold on the front page of the Times, the fascinating world of Utah liquor laws. The Times describes a bar where you can't see the bartenders, and also a wine cellar in a restaurant that has to be filled with empty bottles because they can't show you the liquor. From the business pages, can Google use Google technology to find the next hot internet property? They've got search algorithms trying to identify the next hot internet startup. The gay character introduced to Archie Comics is going to get his own comic book, the Times reports. His name is Kevin. He's already made his debut, but will have his own title coming up early next year. The opening sentence of the story says, "The Gay Pride Parade continues in Riverdale," the longtime home of Archie Andrews and his friends. And we finish with the food section. Perfect for this hot July week. The focus is on ice cream and other frozen treats, things that you can find at various food carts and gourmet spots around town, like frozen bananas and ice cream sandwiches and the like. A list of some of the favorites in the Times this morning. That's a look at some of what's in the papers on this Wednesday.